What is up, you guys? Hope you're having an awesome day. I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video. Now, unless you live under a rock, which right now may be a good thing, then you are very aware that we are in the middle of a global pandemic involving COVID-19. What a time to be alive right now. Like, I never thought I'd be here making YouTube videos saying, hello internet, hope the pandemic is treating you well. Now, a pandemic is a universal epidemic caused by an infectious disease which spreads easily from person to person. I feel like I'm on an episode of Black Mirror or like The Walking Dead or something. Like, is this a joke? But anyway, this is an important one, so let's just get straight into it. These are the top 10 scary procedures to follow during a pandemic type event. Starting us off at number 10 is staying calm. Sometimes the scariest thing to do is to not freak out as the world crashes and burns around you. Of course, I'm not saying take the COVID-19 pandemic lightly or nonchalantly, because you totally shouldn't, but at the same time, stay calm. Don't immerse yourself in hearing news about coronavirus 24/7, because it's going to stress you out more and you don't need that constant badgering of bad news in your ear. Take breaks. It's still okay to work out at home or read a book or just watch something on Netflix. Take care of you and your body and your mind. Call your loved ones, see how they're doing. Staying connected is also a great way to stay calm in the crazy that is the world right now. I thought I'd keep that as number 10, you know? Start us off on a good, nice vibe. Coming in at number 9 is social distancing. Raise your hand if you didn't even know that was a word prior to this pandemic. That's what I thought. And you were lying if you didn't put your hand up. Now, we're all learning new things, you guys, it's fine, we're in this together. Now, as I mentioned previously, one of the defining characteristics of a pandemic is that it is super contagious. To prevent it spreading from person to person, we should all be practicing social distancing or self-quarantine, whatever you want to call it. Isolating yourself from others will slow the spread of the disease immensely, but if you have to go outside, try to keep a 6-foot distance from everyone around you. Now, if you can help it, avoid large crowds and gatherings at all costs. No weddings, no concerts, no sporting events, which I feel like is pretty easy given most concerts and matches are being cancelled right now anyway. Refrain from taking public transport. Like, I've Ubered to and from work every day for the past month now, which is, I mean, bleeding me dry, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm like, is $20 worth not getting coronavirus? Yes it is. Is it me? Or is it getting crazier out there? Stay inside, people. At number 8, we have supplies. Now, I mentioned this in our items to have during an outbreak video, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much here, but stock up on supplies, people. During pandemics where country leaders can impose lockdowns and businesses do temporarily close, stock up on necessities. Grocery stores can't close down during a pandemic, but that doesn't mean stock can't sell out. Get dry food that's going to last you. Stock up on your prescription medicine. Get at least a month's supply of pet food if you have a pet. Let's not run low on anything during these difficult times, people. Stay prepared. Filling on number 7 slot is staying clean. The best precautionary measure to not getting infected is prevention. During a pandemic situation, it's best to triple your hand washing time from what it was usually, and if you don't wash your hands regularly, I'm judging you so hard right now. You don't really need hand sanitizer to disinfect your hands. Soap and water will honestly do, or any type of sanitizer that has at least 60% of alcohol in it. I know you guys have probably heard this so many times now, but washing your hands more frequently really does slow the spread of disease so much. I'm not even spreading fake news, this is all real. And instead of wiping down the surfaces in your house and spreading germs from surface to surface, use disinfectant sprays, wait 3 minutes, and then dry them. Literally, I just gave you 3 ways to stop the spread and you don't even have to leave the house to do any of them. Boom! Now, at number 6 is educating yourself. In the day and age of the internet, there is way too much fake news being spread about the pandemic all the time, and I feel like that boils down to the fact that most of us are just trolls on the internet. Let's be real. Trolling. However, that doesn't mean you have to be a fool. Educate yourself on everything you should know about the pandemic. What are the signs and symptoms of the virus in question? Has it hit your area yet? There are maps of the world on Google right now showing you where exactly all the positive cases are, so at least you can avoid affected areas if you do plan on going outside. If your job is affected, then do your research and find out what your leader is doing in terms of employment benefits during this time, because let's be real, a lot of places are closing down for a month at least. That leaves a lot of people vulnerable, so do your research in every aspect when it comes to a pandemic. I feel like this whole video sounds like me giving a PSA. On behalf of like Trudeau. Coming in at number 5 is help those in need part 1. Another 2 groups of the population at high risk are the elderly and people with already compromised immune systems. Everyone's out here busy worrying about themselves, hoarding all the supplies at the grocery stores that the elderly are scared to even go out and get. And a lot of the times the things they're looking for have already been taken taken by 22-year-olds like me. Try if you can to help out people who are in need and vulnerable during this time. Offer to deliver groceries to an elderly person that can't go out. Start initiatives in your apartment building or compound offering to help whoever you can. I feel like times of crisis often make us quite selfish, but I mean it shouldn't be a me mentality, it should be a we mentality. And number 4 is help those in need part 2. Now it's not just the high risk people that are in need, it's people who are being affected financially by the shutdown of businesses. If you're insured, then this is all shits and giggles for you, but I can't even tell you how many of my friends' workplaces have closed down and they're just not getting paid. Some people have only a month's worth of rent but no money for food or anything like that. People in these kind of vulnerable situations can sometimes also find it very hard or maybe embarrassing to reach out and ask for help. It's just up to us to try and give where we can. If you have spare money, if you have spare meals, do ask your friends if anyone needs that help. You're helping these people a lot more than you know. Filling and number 3 slot is monitor yourself part 1. What if you get sick? We haven't even talked about the possibility yet. Firstly, symptoms can differ depending on what age you are and the severity also differs. Idris Elba, for example, who tested positive, said he experienced 0 symptoms beforehand but just got tested because he had come into contact with someone else who was positive. Now right now it's a really hard time to judge because it's usually flu season around this time anyway because of the changing of the seasons and whatnot, so don't go to the doctor as soon as you cough once because chances are you don't have the virus and you're just putting yourself at risk by spending 6 hours at the ER waiting to be checked. And walk-in clinics don't even take you unless your lung has literally fallen out of your and chances are, if you didn't have it before going to the ER, you probably have it when you leave. Now at number 2 is monitor yourself part 2. If your symptoms do start getting worse, then and only then go get checked. Self-quarantine yourself in your house, wear a mask if you do have to venture out of your room, but avoid touching anything. No surfaces, not your family, not your pets, no one. Don't share anything, get a humidifier if you can because germs hate humid air. Follow the steps professionals tell you to follow because this is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is a global pandemic. Even if you're sick with something else, it'll still make you more susceptible to the virus. And finally, at number 1 is traveling or lack thereof. Now I know Canada, America, Italy, China, and other countries have implemented travel bans and have closed their borders temporarily, and they are right in doing so. The recent COVID-19 spread as quickly and as far as it did is all because of travel. It didn't just teleport from Wuhan to Vancouver, did it? It flew. Airports are already such crowded cesspools, but during a pandemic they're just a breeding germ ground for the virus. Imagine being on a plane with someone that is unknowingly carrying the disease. Most likely you would have caught it even being on a 1-hour plane ride with them and you weren't even sitting next to them. Don't travel anywhere unless you absolutely have to, and especially don't travel to places where the infection rate is high. Like, I don't even have to tell you that. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Elderly people should definitely not travel at all as they are a high risk group, and if you have recently traveled, who knows whose droplets you've breathed into your system, so do everyone a favor and self-isolate for 2 weeks at least. And that is it for today's video, guys. I hope this was informative for you guys in some way, but I also hope you guys knew this. You really should know this. We are in the middle by now. If it was the start of the pandemic, I'd get that you didn't know this. By now, you should all know this. Anyway, I've been your host, Ayman Hassan, and I will see you next time. Bye!